Hello, everyone, and welcome to AP US History for Winners with your teacher, Mr. Johnson. Last time we talked about the market revolution and industrialization and their impacts on culture, and today we're going to go even further into depth into American culture. So if you are ready, let's begin. We got to learn and understand America's national culture. And the important idea here is that a distinct American national identity and culture is formed in the 1800s. This is distinct and different from Europe's culture, which America very much used to base their culture off of. So this culture we've kind of mentioned before is inspired by the American Revolution's ideas. It's inspired by national heroes. But we're going to go into some more specifics here. Another important figure to know is Noah Webster, who is an intellectual in America in the early 1800s, who creates Webster's dictionary, right? And so the idea here is this is a thought that we need to think about the American language. Yes, we're speaking English, but we want to think about what are the American turns of phrase, right? What are our ways and the American ways to express ideas? Okay, so that's one piece to know, and that's a good name or example to bring up. Now, one group that's important to understand is transcendentalists. Okay. And this is a group or a type of person that comes about in the 1800s that's basically a good example to understand the American national identity and culture. So, a transcendentalist is somebody who focuses on one's self and looks into nature for God. So they're looking for God in nature. And this is going to connect with some other ideas we're going to talk about. They challenge the ideas of materialism that are coming about in the 1800s with the market revolution and the industrial revolution, right? Where everybody's kind of being obsessed with stuff and items. They're challenging these ideas and they're stressing the role of the individual and they're stressing individualism. Okay, so what does it mean to be yourself? Now, I kind of think of a transcendentalist as like a hippie. Okay, so in my mind, that's the easiest way to think about these. You can think about these are hippies from the 1800s. Okay, so some examples of some famous transcendentalists. One is Ralph Waldo Emerson, and he is an American author, and he often talks about, again, self reliance, relying on yourself to get what you need. That's a really American idea, right? We got to figure out what we need, and we should be able to take care of ourselves, individualism. This is where these ideas of being an American come from. And another really important person is Henry David Thoreau. And he has a couple of books he writes. He writes one called Walden, and this is a book about his experience. He actually he's pictured here, and he moves up in Massachusetts to this near this pond called Walden's Pond, and he lives in the woods and he lives by himself for 2 years. Okay, and this is a book about his experiences. And again, right, it's self-reliance, looking for God in nature. Okay, individualism. He writes another book called On Civil Disobedience. And this is the idea that he's encouraging people to break laws if they think those laws are unjust. All right. So this is an American idea, right? Freedom, liberty. We had the right to break away from England because we thought that they were unjust. So we should be doing the same thing here. Now, a good way to remember these people, for me, they're both triple name people, right? Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau. They both got three names, okay? Like, first, middle, last name. That's how we call them. And so that works for me with transcendentalism, right? It's kind of like a three-part word, and these are three named people, all right? So that's kind of the way I remember it. And then the last piece about transcendentalists is that they're often anti-slavery, and they're often going to latch themselves to the abolition movement. Okay. The other idea for culture in the 1800s is a new word for us, and it's a new concept, and it's called romanticism. And what romanticism is, it's romantic beliefs in human perfectibility, influenced by literature, art, philosophy, and architecture. Okay, so this is where people are seeing the beauty in nature. They're seeing the beauty in mankind. All right. A lot of the art that comes out of this movement is from the Hudson River School. And this is a great term to memorize, the Hudson River School. Okay, and these are artists that are going to create paintings up near the New York area, is where the Hudson River is. All right, and they're going to be focused on the wilderness and how man is so small and compare it to the vast American wilderness. So we'll look at some of these paintings, okay, in class. As far as literature goes, a lot of romantics promote nationalism, right? So they promote the idea of what it is to be an American. Again, connecting back to transcendentalism, stressing the role of the individual, looking for God in nature, all right? Relying on yourself. One famous romantic author is James Fenimore Cooper, and he writes a few books that make people on the frontier look good and like look romantic in the idea like, oh, wouldn't it be great to move to the frontier and try to be on your own and to make it, right? This is the American idea. All the Americans have in their head, oh, the original colonists moved here, they made it here on their own, and this is what it is to be an American. Okay, as far as architecture go, a little less important, but I thought it looked interesting. Okay, so this is a lot of callback to Greek revival architecture and Gothic revival architecture. So it's a callback to some European architecture. If you've ever been in New York City, you might have seen this cathedral. This is St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City. It's one of the most famous ones. And this is an example of Gothic revival. Okay, that's actually it for today on our notes on American culture from the early 1800s. It's not a whole lot, but it's important because there's a lot of there's new terms, transcendentalists and romanticism, and there's a lot of people to remember. So there's going to be some stuff that we got to memorize out of here. So let's do our big ideas. What was the cause of America's new national identity? What is it inspired by? Okay. Then let's describe transcendentalists and give a specific example. And finally, let's describe romanticism and give a specific example. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.